All right, everybody. God bless you. Welcome back to the channel. If you missed it last night on John Harris's channel, also I think it was live streamed on Right Response Ministries as well. Me and four other brothers were just talking about Christian nationalism, and we were responding to G3's podcast on Christian nationalism. Now, we didn't get through it. It's very long, and there's 5 of us, so everyone was trying to get words in and stuff like that. But it was really good, and in my opinion, it demonstrates, our reasonableness. And, we invited the G3 guys to participate. They did not want to, at least not yet, in fairness to them. So if you want to see those brothers, or even me, again, I don't have to participate because I understand I can trigger people. But if you want to see G3 talk to guys like Joel Webbin or Dusty Devers or William Wolf or John Harris, my suggestion is for you to go to G3 and message them and politely say, hey, could you guys talk to some of those guys? That would be very helpful to me. Because I got to be honest, I think that would be very helpful. I personally, I would prefer to watch that because I think I would be much more edified not participating in that and just watching it happen. And also, it would make sense, in my opinion, for those Baptists to talk together. Because from a Presbyterian perspective, I see things a little bit differently. And so I think it'd be more helpful to everybody if Baptists talk to Baptists and all of that kind of thing. And yes, I did say Baptist. That's right. Anyway, that being said, I don't think that us reaching out to them is going to make that conversation happen. I think if you guys did, though, it would. That being said, I want to just say something, and I'm recommending that if you're on Twitter, that you follow this guy Bendel Wary. It's at Bendel Wary. He's on the screen right now. I'll try to remember to put it in the notes section of this video. Follow this guy. He is hilarious. Number one, he's very knowledgeable, very sharp guy. I actually found out that him and my brother have some educational things in common, which makes perfect sense because my brother, likewise, is very hilarious and very sharp and all of that kind of thing. But he posted this morning, and I really like this. He says, "Good morning. I'm declaring this a White Pill Wednesday. We get into a lot of mischief on the timeline, often necessary, but today I want to hear about the good, true, and beautiful things going on in your world." I love this, man, because I gotta be honest. Like, I walk around and I'm very rarely feeling discouraged with the way that things are going online or the way that things are going within the church. There are certain things that I'm not happy about. I find discouraging, but for the most part, I'm so encouraged by everything that's happening. Like there's so much to be white-pilled about right now. We are having conversations, and the ball is being moved forward. The Overton Window, people like to talk about the Overton Window. Like, we're having conversations now that when I first became a Christian were unthinkable, that these would be like popular, sort of conversations to be had. Now a lot of people say, well, you Christian nationalists, you're like a little bit of people. And I think to some degree that's right. We're not a huge movement, that's for sure. But the reality is that despite our numbers, this conversation is being taken seriously, at least to some degree, way more than you would expect. And so I am so white-pilled by that. I think God is doing so many things right now with so many people. And maybe it's because I get a little bit of a window into how people are thinking, because I do get a lot of messages of people that are saying, hey, I'm not really ready to call myself a Christian nationalist, but I do understand the need to fill a vacuum. Like, we have tranny nationalism right now, and I'm starting to realize that sort of like the libertarian thing, the liberal thing, it's just not equipped. And it isn't. It's not equipped at all. You have to replace it with something. Like, people are understanding that cultural markers, cultural, traditional type things, all these things matter, right? It matters. You can't just have this like neutral, secular, monstrosity. It doesn't work. That's not how people are. And so it's just an amazing thing. And so many people are realizing this, and they're not quite sure what to make of Christian nationalism, but they are having these conversations, and they are thinking about things that they've never thought about before. I've said this many times, but like if you go on the street and ask 10 people, what your nationality is, I don't think most people understand what nationality means. I think if you ask most people, they'll say something like, "Oh yeah, well my grandfather was born in Puerto Rico," or like my grandparents are from Ethiopia. Like that's what they would say, and it's like, well, no, your nationality, you're an American. That's your nationality. But the thing is, like, America doesn't feel like a nation. Like, it doesn't, like, in so many ways, like, it just doesn't have a lot of the markers that you would identify with a nation. And a lot of people have said it's more like an empire. And I think that's right. It's more like an empire. Anyway, that being said, it's a very good thing that people are thinking about these things. It's a very good thing that people are thinking about when you say that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Like, they're taking that seriously and thinking, wow, it's more than just something nice to say in a prayer or to put on a coffee mug. Like, what does that mean? There's content there, right? What does it mean that Jesus is putting all his enemies under his feet? What does that look like day to day, to put an enemy under his feet? What does it mean to say that our rulers should kiss the Son, lest he be angry? It's just amazing. Like I feel so blessed about all this. If you don't have a lot of joy in the battle, like you see these fights and you're like so discouraged and you're like depressed and things like that. I think a lot of Christians are waking up from like a cultural depression. Like we're so used to being beaten down and put on the defensive and losing that it's almost like to cope with that, we sort of created this thing, well, losing is good. Losing is good. And being beaten is good. That's a good thing. And it's like, and I saw Stephen Wolf post this too. He said, sure, we should prepare to suffer well, but suffering well is not superior to succeeding well, right? Like you should try to win. You should try to succeed. But if you have to suffer, okay, well, you do that well. You should do all things through Christ who strengthens you. That means suffering, sure. But it also means, setting a goal and accomplishing it and doing that in Christ. Like there's no reason why we need to just give up, right? But we've been so depressed and beaten down that we've created this mindset where it's like, oh, if somebody doesn't like losing, if somebody doesn't welcome being beaten down and dominated by the secular culture, then there must be something wrong with them. They must be one of those, evil nationalists or something like that. Like we've created these like our mindsets, they're so jacked up, guys. They're so jacked up. So anyway, if you're not enjoying the battle, if you're not, finding joy there, I think you need to do something about that. You need to do something about that. The joy of the Lord is our strength. So if you don't have a life full of joy, I think you need to, consider that. And of course, there could be legitimate reasons why you're depressed. I'm not saying like there's no legitimate reasons to be disappointed, but the joy of the Lord is your strength. Even when things are really rough, you've got to recognize that the joy of the Lord is your strength. And I think you need to do something about that. One simple thing that a lot of people are doing, and Christian nationalists do focus on this quite a bit, is disciplining your own self, right? Your diet, your exercise, your body. That is so crucial because, a man who can't rule their own self, their own body, their own habits, it's going to be very difficult to rule anything else. And not only that, but I think, anecdotally, you see time and time again, people will say something like this. Have you ever heard this? I changed my diet. I stopped eating all the carbs. I stopped eating all the sugar. I stopped eating all the, what's it called? The vegetable, the seed oils, that kind of thing. And I got to be honest, like I feel great. I wake up and I'm energized and I'm ready to go. And even if I have a hard day at work, like just the stress levels are like your diet, your exercise, your health, it's connected to how you feel. It's connected to your attitude. There's just no way around this, guys. And so if you find yourself in sort of like a weird funk and there's no joy there and things like that, and you just can't figure that out, that's a good thing. That's kind of within your power And again, I'm not, obviously, you can't neglect the spiritual things too. I'm not saying neglect the spiritual things. I'm not saying only this matters, but I'm saying a lot of times people will be on point with some of the spiritual stuff, but they neglect the body, which I think means you're actually really not on point with the spiritual stuff, in my opinion. But that's something that you can do, guys. That's something that's in your control. Like the pagans can't stop you from eating right. They can't. Like they can't do it. They can't do it. Maybe they can stop you from getting a job at one of their stupid companies, but they can't stop you from eating right. They can't stop you from exercising. They can't stop you from getting a good night's sleep. These are things that I think if you have an attitude problem, which a lot of people do, if you have an attitude problem, you can start there. You can start there. But man, there's just so many reasons to be white-pilled. I recommend following Bendel Wary in general, but also just follow him and look at this thread, because there's people that are just posting wins down underneath this thread. There's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to be thankful for. This culture war is raging right now. There's no question about it. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. But that's no excuse for not finding so much joy, so much gratitude, so much to be grateful for in this world. Jesus Christ is King of Kings. He's Lord of Lords. He's at the right hand of the Father, reigning and ruling now, putting all his enemies under his feet right now. And listen, if that's the case, and you believe that, and so many in this audience believe that, what can Target do to you? What can Bud Light do to you? It's almost comical. It's almost comical when you think about it, you know? In any case, I hope you found this video encouraging. I got to say, I am just in a great mood today. I don't really know why. I'm just in a great mood. God bless you. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.